What is up and what is happening, Auburn fans? Welcome in on this Tuesday night or Tuesday afternoon, I guess I should say. The weather here in Mobile, Alabama, certainly is making it feel like nighttime so far. So, real wet, windy, uh, just a just a bad day. So, look, Alex Golesh making moves already as the head football coach of the Auburn Tigers. Breaking news, we know DJ Durkin is coming back to be the defensive coordinator for your Auburn Tigers. And I think you got to be really excited about that. We'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like tomorrow. You got National Signing Day coming up tomorrow. Not going to be like a hellacious class for Auburn just because everything you've been through, the coaching change, you know, pulling offers, trying to see who fits your system, guys decommitting and things like that. And then, Golesh is probably trying to pull some cats. Excuse me. He's probably trying to pull some cats from South Florida into Auburn that he committed there or recruited there, I should say. So a lot going on, a lot of moving pieces, but he is the new head coach. And I think right now he passes the eye test for me as Auburn's new head football coach. And, I want to start tonight with the press conference. And if you were wavering on this hire, like my guy, obviously, like my guy Daniel, who always seems to crack me up, if you were wavering on this hire and you don't know which side of the fence to get on, man, I think you got to get on the side of Alex Golesh as a stand-up individual. I think Alex Golesh is a hard-nosed guy. I think Alex Golesh is a family man, and I think he's a pretty dang good football coach. And so, when I watched him, and one thing that really stuck out to me is through the Tiger Walk and walking out onto Pat Dye Field was his family's reaction. I'll start there with the family reaction. When I watched his kids light up in their faces, and especially his son's face, the smile and like, hey, we want to be here. We are embracing this opportunity to be at Auburn. That really stuck out to me. Um, the first thing he talked about was lesson. It wasn't patience. It wasn't, hey, stick with me through these tough times, and I'm not bashing Hugh here, but one thing Hugh did say when he took the job was, hey, I need some time. We're going to have to flip this thing. Just be patient. The first 2 years probably aren't going to be great, right? Well, Alex Golesh come in and did not sound anything like that. Alex Golesh come in and said, hey, we're going to put our heads down. We're going to go to work. We're going to recruit the 250-mile radius. And we're going to win championships. We're going to win football games. It wasn't, hey, I need time to get my roster intact. Hey, these rosters are better than Auburn's. We just don't have the guys to compete right now and things like that. Look, I know Golesh is stepping into a better roster and a better situation than what Hugh stepped into. But it really feels like there's two different mindsets between these two individuals. And Hughes was, this thing's going to take time. And Golesh's is, hey, we're here to hit the ground running. We know what Auburn has struggled with in the past, in recent history, and that's offense. And I'm the guy to come in and we're going to score points. We're going to light up those two jumbotrons, and we're going to win football games with playing hard-nosed defense and running the football, because he said, I know people down here love to run the damn football, right? So I know that made every Auburn fan happy. And if you go back and look at his success at Tennessee as the offensive coordinator, it shows that he will run the ball. So like one big thing for me is everybody wants to highlight his his scheme, his passing attack, and things like that. And he lights it up, and they score 50 points a game. But one thing that stuck out to me is he said, "I look at weaknesses, and I'm gonna exploit those weaknesses. So if I see a defense can't stop the run, we're gonna run it, and we're gonna run it all night long." Which brings me to our former coach, and I hate to compare the two, but it just sounds so different. A guy that sat there and was like, "Yeah, man, they were daring us to run it, but whew, it was hard not to throw it." Right? I just get a little different feeling from Golesh of, "Hey, we're gonna pinpoint something, we're gonna stick to that plan, and then if it doesn't work, if that game plan doesn't work, we'll pivot to something else and see if we can find some success somewhere else." Did it not feel a little bit like that? Like this guy, there's no excuses. There's no moral victories. There's no just being close. This guy seems like he's about business. He wants to tuck his shirt in. He wants to roll up the sleeves and he wants to go to work. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Alex Golesh coming in. And if we got to run the football, run the dang football. If we got to throw it, throw it. There's one thing I think every Auburn fan can kind of point to, and we've struggled at the quarterback position, and you see that there's a possibility that USF's quarterback, the Brown kid, could possibly enter the transfer portal. A lot of their moderators are thinking that he will, and some Auburn fans have voiced their opinion on going and getting him. You know, he could bring a familiar guy in here, or he could rock with Deuce or Ashton. Like we all know, Jackson's probably going. He's going to transfer. But this guy's going to bring real competition. He's going to put heat in that room. He's going to make it to where, hey, best man wins. Best man is going to play. We're not going with somebody just off of NIL money. Like we're going to have a real competition. Best guy will play. I'm going to put my best foot forward to win football games at Auburn. Oh, did my wife say something about? Okay. All right, I got to jump over here in the chat real quick. My wife says, "What do you want from McDonald's?" Get me the snack wrap meal, spicy, with a Coke, and thank you, and I appreciate you. Love them snack wraps. So, um, sorry about that, y'all. I don't keep my phone on me when I do these, so it's over there on silent, and I turn it all the way down. So. Uh, but thank you, babe. I appreciate it. She's picking up dinner tonight. Nasty weather. Didn't feel like cooking. Cooked last night. So shout out to my wife for getting the kids and getting supper. So back to football, man. Back to Alex Golesh and everything that I'm impressed with in his short time at Auburn University. 48 hours worth of time at Auburn University. Um, you know, he was asked about the golf situation, and he knew it was coming. And I think one of the big answers for me was he wasn't trying to throw shade at Hugh, but what he was doing was he was saying, "Hey, you're not going to get me sidetracked. This is an opportunity of a lifetime for me, and you're not going to get me chasing something else. Like I'm a football coach and I'm here to coach football and win games for this prestigious program that is lacking right now, but I want to turn this around and get it going in the right direction." And he said, "I suck at golf. I don't want to play golf, and the biggest thing for me is if you want to be a great football coach, you can't be good at golf, because then that's going to cut into your time as a football coach." Now, I don't think it was a dig at Hugh. I think he was just being straight up honest and saying, hey, you're not going to catch me making tee times during the week and being focused on my golf game instead of being focused on Auburn football. I think he's 100% locked in. I think he's ready for the moment. Now, I talked to a buddy of mine. He's a big time Tennessee fan. And he said, whoa, he said, Auburn killed it. They knocked it out of the park, brother. He said, you were going to love Alex Golesh. He said, your offense is going to be up tempo. You're going to play with pace. He was like, you're going to move the football. You're going to score a lot of points. And I was like, hey, I like what I'm hearing. I like what I'm hearing. Like, this sounds great, because if we could have scored 30, if we could have just scored 30 points in a lot of our games this year, we're probably going to a maybe a college football playoff. And I know that might seem crazy to say because we're 5-7, but hell, if we score 30, I mean, we could probably go 10-2, and we're right there on the cusp of the college football playoff. But we couldn't score points. And I feel like Alex Golesh is really going to do that and put us in big time situations in his time at Auburn University. I'm really excited, y'all. I really am. I the more and more I go and look back at his time coaching and his offenses and his quarterbacks and his development, I really, really am excited. So just coming from the press conference, and they always say like, oh, did he win the press conference or did he lose the press conference? And I'm like, well, here's the thing about a press conference is I feel like everybody wins. I feel like everybody wins the press conference. But my biggest thing is there's red flags and green flags in a press conference. And you gotta pinpoint where those are at. And I think he is very, very precise in the way he talks. I think he's, like I said, a roll up the sleeves guy and go to work. And I never really saw any signs of red flags where I was like, man, that kind of sounds like the last guy. I don't think he really likes to stand up in front of a microphone and really give his opinion on things. I think he's one of those guys where he's like, hey, you're wasting my time while I'm standing here at this podium. I need to go coach football. That's the impression that I got yesterday from him. Was he was like, hey, I'm keeping this thing short. I'm keeping it sweet. I'm ready to get out of here. I am ready to go start tracking down this roster, recruiting this roster to stay. And I also want to get on the recruiting trail since National Signing Day is 24 to 48 hours away. And I want to try to get some of these guys in the boat and maybe get some of them out of the boat that we don't really want. So I'm really, really excited, man. I think this guy, I think he's got it. And I had this conversation today where people are like, well, he gets a pass in year one because Auburn's schedule is so difficult. And when I look at it, I'm like, well, I don't want to say he gets a pass because Auburn's schedule looks difficult right now because of what you see this year. But I'm not so sure that what they look like this year, are they going to look like that next year? Like, I know the names on the schedule seem really difficult, but I want to see Alex Golesh take us in on the road next year and beat a premier program. I don't want to say, oh, well, man, we were going to lose that game anyway. No, I don't want that to be the mindset, okay? I want Alex Golesh to lead us into a road atmosphere and go win a football game in year one. And Daniel, I'll get to that. I'll get to that in a minute. So I don't want to sit here and say, well, he gets a pass because I feel like we're kind of that's that we're trying to veer back to the other guy. All right, we're trying to go back to what we just come from. We're close. Well, no. I think Alex Golesh is straightforward. He's saying, "Hey, I don't give a damn what the schedule looks like. We're going to go win football games. We're going to go win football games." Now, the recruiting side of things, I know we've dropped some, all that stuff. We've retracted some scholarships and some offers and all that stuff. Look, the Heppy kid, I think it's a great story. Heck of a kid. I just don't think he matched up to what Alex Golesh and the staff really wanted. I don't think they wanted a project, and I think they just kind of told him like, "Hey, look, man, it's just not in the cards for you to be at Auburn University." And he seemed heartbroken on Twitter, and I hate that for him. I hope he finds him a home, but I'm also looking at this like, man, this guy's already coming in and he's saying, "Hey, this cat's not cut out for what I want." The old staff, they were taking this kid, but I just don't think he's going to play here. I know we're supposed to get on here and we're supposed to be nice and we're supposed to hype everything up and make it sunshine and rainbows. But let's be real. The kid hadn't played football. I don't think he had played a real snap of football. And I think Alex Golesh said, "Hey, look, I'm trying to get the ball rolling and we're trying to get going. I need this spot for somebody else. So I'm going to retract that. Wish you well. Go on and hope you have a hell of a career." Let's just be real. All right. Falzone, the quarterback, he decommits. Everybody's like, "Oh man, Peyton Falzone, he decommitted." Look, one thing, let's keep it real quick. All right. He was from Pennsylvania. Okay. He committed to Auburn without ever taking an official visit. He hadn't even been to campus yet. All right. Now, he was at the Iron Bowl. Said, "Hey, I'm locked in. I'm ready to roll." Blase, blase, blase. Golesh immediately said, "Let's do a player evaluation." I don't think he's the right fit for what I want to do. I think my guy that I had committed down at USF is a better prospect than Falzone. Some people are going to be like, "Oh, man, you just passed up a 4-star for a 3-star." What I think Golesh is looking at is like, "Hey, I got a guy. He's down there in South Florida, plays big-time high school football. He's really talented. I like my evaluation with him more than I like the evaluation with Falzone. And let me retract that offer there. I need that spot for somebody else. And we're going to go about our business how we want to here at Auburn. And we wish you well. Let's just keep it a buck." That's what happened. That's what happened. And the Falzone thing, I put on Twitter yesterday, like you saw it coming from a mile away because he had been rumored with Syracuse. And then, he was originally committed to Penn State and they kind of wanted him to move to tight end. So he decommitted. And then out of nowhere, he was just like, "Oh, yeah, I'm committed to Auburn." And it was like this mystery thing with Hugh Freeze, whatever that was. So I saw it coming from a mile away. Didn't really care that he decommitted, whatever. The Kentrell White one, I think that one, I would love to have him. I know he decommitted today. Rivals put that out, I believe. Tight end, athletic freak, man, would love to have him. I think this one was more of Golesh bringing in the kid from Mary Montgomery right here in Mobile, Alabama. Brings him in as his tight end who was committed to South Florida. I think Kentrell might have looked at that and said, "Oh, whoa, like you want him?" Yeah, I think I need to take a step back and reevaluate things. And let's look at this as, a bigger picture. And so I don't think that one was Golesh like pushing him out. I just think he said, "Hey, I'm bringing my tight end commit with me." Which, by the way, I'll do a member pod on him sometime this week, and I will get that out. I've watched him play numerous times, and he is one hell of an athlete. Just recently started playing football when he got in high school. Watched him play baseball. A freak on the diamond, can absolutely sling a baseball, and also a basketball star. So he's a triathlete, man. Like he does all three. He goes and gets after it. And I want those types of kids at Auburn. Those ones that they'll play all the sports. I'm down with those. So. And he's 6'5", and he's an athletic freak, a big target in the red zone. I know Mary Montgomery. Now, I think he had like 500-600 yards receiving this year. Mary Montgomery used him a lot. They threw the ball a lot, and he had a lot of success. Which he didn't really play tight end in high school, but I I am interested to see him move to that position, and we'll see what kind of blocker he is and things like that. But he still got to beef up, man. He still got to come in as a freshman and put on some weight and things like that. So I don't think he's going to be like a freshman phenom, but I think he can come in, and within 2 years you could see him on the field for the Auburn Tigers. So that was a big time flip from USF, but obviously you lose Womack, and him flipping to Mississippi State, whatever. I think that was more of like a money thing, in my opinion. I think it was just the money game where you saw him voice his, you saw him voice his opinion and his feelings on Twitter multiple times when the whole thing with Hugh Freeze was going on. And he put the little emoji the other day when they hired Golesh, and you were just like, all right, I'm kind of over it already. Like, get to stepping. If you want to go, go. And he flips to Mississippi State. Cool. I think he was like, hey, I'm an in-state guy. I'll just go over here to Mississippi State. I'll get this bag. And, I don't really want to come in with the Goalish crew and things like that. Now, tomorrow that could change. DJ Durkin could have a flip on his hands and be like, hey, man, look, I got retained at Auburn. Come on back. Don't sign with Mississippi State, whatever. Auburn could up their price. I don't know. But him flipping, you want to see Jay stay in the class. Jace Matthews, I think it comes down to LSU, Ole Miss, and Auburn. I'm sure Lane's probably going to try to throw a bag at him now that he's at LSU. I'm not sure if Ole Miss could compete with Auburn's bag. Maybe. I don't know. I'm thinking that while Lane was at Ole Miss, he wanted that offense, but I think Auburn had a little bit better package set up for him. Now that Lane's at LSU, it'll be interesting to see. But I do think we need to. I do think we need to keep him in this class. Now, it's not going to be an exciting day. It's not going to be like a bunch of fireworks for Auburn, but I really think that Alex Golesh is going to fulfill this class through the portal. I think he's going to go out and he's going to make a statement. And you talk about player retention, man. This is like the biggest month for him as the Auburn head coach. If he can keep this roster intact and he can keep a lot of these dudes on the offensive side, if he can show them a vision and say, hey, look, this is how I want to use you, we're not going to say something. We're not going to say we're going to use you like this and then use you like this. No, when we say that we're going to use you here, we're actually going to do it and follow through with it. So if he could keep those cats, and then DJ, I think he's going to retain a lot of the guys on defense. You're probably going to lose one or two, maybe, whatever. It's going to happen. That's just the day and age of college football that we're in. But if he can keep majority of this roster intact, I think Auburn could be special next year. I really, really do. And just hearing other people talk about Golesh just has me really, really fired up. So let's get over here in this comment section, man. Appreciate each and every one of you for being in here. Daniel, one of the ones to always kick it off. At least Durkin is coming back. Yeah, we'll talk about it tomorrow. I think that's a home run for Golesh. I think it's a home run. I mean, no other way to put it. If Durkin would have walked out, here's how I would have felt. All right, and I put it on Twitter yesterday. If Durkin would have walked, then I would have been okay. I would have been a little upset, But at the end of the day, you have to let Golesh run his program the way he wants to run his program. I did not want DJ to be retained because Auburn said so. Like, I feel like Hugh had to go through that with Cadillac, and I want DJ at Auburn because Alex Golesh thought he was the best possible fit to be the Auburn defensive coordinator. And that's how I felt about it. And he hit a home run today. Alex Golesh is 1 for 1 as Auburn's head coach. The weather in Beeham is, yeah, it seems like all over the Southeast. Best of both worlds. This could be a home run hire if they can keep enough of the roster and finish it off through the portal. For sure, the weakest link. I'm with you. I really feel like they're going to try to capitalize and go all out in the portal. And I'm interested to see how he fills out the rest of the staff too. And there's going to be a lot more content on that. Like, we're going to be going live, pushing videos and things like that as he continues to fill out his staff. It's going to be an exciting time for Auburn. I like Summerall, but Golesh has SEC experience as a coordinator and knows what it takes to win in this league. For sure. No doubt, man. He knows what it takes. He spoke on that, and he knows what these fan bases bring in this conference. So that's a big thing. Florida are pissed about the Summerall hire. Well, I think what they're pissed about is they just hired a G5 guy from the state of Louisiana, and they spent 4 years with him. He didn't work out, and so they went back and rehired a guy from the state of Louisiana, a G5 guy, where it previously just didn't work. And so that's what they're pissed about. I don't think they're pissed at like Summerall's style of coaching and what he's about. I think they're just pissed about how they were in it for Lane when all along they were getting Summerall. Yeah, they can have him. I think Golesh may end up being the better fit here. I like it so far. I really do. I really, really do. I think he's going to fit just fine. And I am excited about you have a two-headed monster now. So with DJ coming back, you got Alex on the offensive side, mastermind, and you got DJ on the defensive side, a mastermind. And a lot of people out there, a lot of Auburn fans were saying, well, DJ, when he was promoted to interim head coach, the defense slipped. Well, guess what? He's no longer the interim head coach. He's going to fall back to that DC role. And let's see how that defense comes out flying around next year. I think 1 year with Brown isn't worth losing 3 or 4 years with Deuce, but I'm all in on whatever Golesh decides to do. I'm with you. I was asked this today. Who would you rather have? And I just think Deuce Knight is the play here. I think Deuce Knight could really work in Golesh's style. And I want the 3 years with Deuce or the 2 years with Deuce. I want to see more of Deuce Knight, and I even gave him the nod to be the starter next year, even before Golesh was hired, because he is the future of your program, and he showed flashes against Mercer. And granted, I know it's Mercer, but he showed those flashes, and so I'm really interested to see. I don't want Brown just because I don't want it to piss off Deuce and we end up losing 2 quarterbacks instead of just 1. I just hope Alex doesn't forget how to coach competent football. One thing about Golesh is, this is one thing I like. He's young. He's driven. I think he understands the day and age of college football that we're in. I think Hugh might have had a problem with the NIL era. Just my opinion. I think he was a hell of a recruiter, but I think he might have had a problem with the NIL era. And I also think he let things get in the way of him being really, really good at Auburn instead of coaching his tail off. And then also, you got to cut him some slack. He did find out that he had the C word, man. And I think that takes a toll on how you operate on a daily basis. So we wish him well. There was a podcast to come out with David Pollock, and he kind of opened up and just admitted, like, I just didn't get the job done, man. Like, it wasn't nobody's fault. It wasn't the boosters' fault. It wasn't the president's fault. The faculty. It was my fault. Like, I just didn't do the work that I needed to do to have success at Auburn. This guy is very different than the last few coaches we have had. I'm with you. War Eagle Thomas, War Eagle, how are we doing, man? How are we doing? Only red flag was when asked about retaining Durkin, but it sounded like they really didn't know how that was going to work out. Thankfully, it did. Okay, the weakest link. Great point here. Now that it's official, I think what that come off as to me was we had a plan. We're trying to execute that plan. But there's a money issue here. All right. We're trying to get this negotiated. We're trying to get it worked out. We are trying to get DJ a raise. And I think that was the issue. You can disagree with me. You can say, Blake, you don't know what you're talking about. When I look at it, I think that DJ was saying, hey, in order for you to keep me here, in order for you to pass me up, in order for you to hire a guy over me, when I was in line and people 10 hours earlier were saying, you're the guy, you passed me up. So now you got to give me a raise. I think that's what it was. And I'm glad it got worked out. Not really a red flag, but a bit worried. I was very impressed with his DC from USF. I just, the only thing about that is I didn't want to hire the all G5 staff. I'm okay with Golesh and some assistants, but I don't want to bring every single guy from the G5. Call me William, War Damn Eagle. Okay. Okay, William. What's up, man? How we doing? Yeah, USF's defense, they weren't terrible. I mean, they weren't great either. I also think when they get into the American, man, they were facing a little bit different style of offenses than, you watch them play against Alabama, and I think they were just facing a little different style. Spread you out, throw it all around the yard, and Alabama was just leaning on them. So it was low scoring. They held Alabama. They had terrific edge pressure and things like that, man. So I don't know. I mean, they weren't giving up 60. You saw scores like they gave up 28, 30, things like that. I mean, they weren't terrible. Let's go. This is breaking. Fontrell, let's go. Retain. I just dropped my snuff, boy. Let's go. That's huge. That is huge. Big news. We got to make an episode on that. Big news, man. I'm sure my phone is going crazy. We're live. I'm sorry. But this is massive, man. This is massive. Sorry, I got to send this text real quick. Yeah, this is big stuff. This is big stuff. That's huge, man. I think that's another one that's gonna keep some guys in their place at Auburn. I also think a lot of Auburn fans were worried when he took the job, and they were questioning, can he get the job done? Was this a bad hire by Hugh? And it turned out to be a really successful hire. Um, Hugh just couldn't really get the offense going, but everything he kind of did besides offensive coordinator, he kind of really nailed it. Y'all have heard me in the group chat for a while now. All I want is wins. I'm feeling a lot better now that Golesh is in charge, for sure, for sure. I fully believe Deuce beats Ashton for the starting job this spring. I'm with you, Thomas. I'm with you. That's why I gave him the nod, man. And I think Ashton is okay with that. Like, obviously, you don't want to lose the starting job. And I'm not saying that Ashton's just going to go out there and lay down if there's a quarterback competition, which I do think there will be. But I just don't see a world where he beats Deuce out in a competition. And I think Ashton is okay with helping this team win in any way possible. I just think he wants to be a really A+ teammate. We have a chance to be a really good team next year if we keep and develop our team. I'm with you, William. I'm with you. You keep the roster intact. Obviously, like I said, you're going to lose a couple guys here and there. It's just part of college football. But if you keep this intact, I think you got a head coach that's going to have some good evaluations. I think he's going to go out and bring some guys in from the portal. I still think he might snag a few from South Florida. And you look at how he carries himself and the way he walks and the way he talks. I think he's all about business, and I think he's going to have us in some games. And I think we're going to be able to close games out. I think we're going to be able to finish. He said finishing is a mentality, and you gotta lock it down. You gotta lock in and be ready for the moment. So I'm excited, man. He's a guy, and he seems like he's a go getter. So thank y'all for joining me tonight, man. This has been another live episode. I'm really, really thankful and grateful for each and every one of you. If you could, please hit the like button, share it out on the social media if you could. It helps the show tremendously. Had a little uptick in some followers. If you're interested in memberships, I'm going to drop a membership video this week. Now that the season is officially over, you will be getting some member pods and things like that throughout the week. And so if you're interested in becoming a member, man, go check that out on the page. And we will be back tomorrow because it's National Signing Day, and we're not going to go without talking about it, right? So we'll be back on here tomorrow live. We're going to talk about it, and then we will have an episode about DJ Durkin being retained. And like we said, VK Dub also retained. Daniel saying that. So I think that's awesome, and we'll have all that good stuff for y'all. So War Damn Eagle, man. Hey, I know we don't have another game this year, but there's a lot of excitement on the Plains right now on the football side of things. And just to think, a couple of days ago, we lost a heartbreaker to the University of Alabama, but now it feels like there's brighter days ahead, and there's some positive energy moving throughout the Plains in the football facility. So, like I said, War Damn Eagle, I will catch y'all tomorrow night. And yes, basketball is tomorrow night. So I might be on here tomorrow evening. So just pay attention for me. Look out for me. I'll let each and every one of you in the group chat know when I go live. But yeah, I certainly won't go live during the basketball game. But War Damn, y'all. I'll see y'all.